Hi, my name is Leo, and now I'm going to tell you something that will make you angry. That message you've been drafting in your head for the last 3 weeks, the one you've rewritten 40 times, the one that's finally honest, finally perfect, finally says everything. She will read it in 11 seconds, close her phone, and feel nothing. Not because she doesn't care about you, but because the moment she sees that message, she already knows everything she needs to know about where you are right now. And it's not where she needs you to be. I've watched this happen to hundreds of men, smart men, men with real feelings and real reasons. And every single one of them thought their situation was the exception. It wasn't. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what texting her actually communicates, why silence is doing more work than you realize, and the one specific scenario where sending a message is actually the right move. But I promise you, it's not the scenario you're hoping for. False reason number one: she's going to find someone new. Here's the brutal logic. If she can replace what you two had in 3 weeks with some guy she met at a bar, those weren't the kind of feelings that come back. You texting her at 11 p.m. doesn't stop that. It just makes you the guy who couldn't handle the silence. And if the feelings were real, distance will surface them, not your message. False reason number two: she's forgetting you. Every day you stay quiet, you feel yourself fading, like you're disappearing from her memory in real time. So you think one message, just to remind her I exist. That instinct is completely backwards. And I'll explain exactly why in a moment. There are two lies the male brain tells itself during no contact, and they're so convincing that most men break within 6 weeks. Lie number one: my situation is different. I've heard thousands of breakup stories, and every single man says the same thing. You don't understand. She's not like other girls. What we had was different. And I'm not saying your relationship wasn't meaningful. I'm saying the psychological pattern playing out right now, the obsession, the analysis of every last conversation, the fantasy that one perfect message fixes everything. That pattern is identical in every man, in every country, in every language. Your situation feels unique from the inside. From the outside, it's chapter 4 of a book I've read 100 times. Lie number two: she's already over it. Here's what real-world experience actually shows. Female nostalgia has a delayed fuse. In the first weeks after a breakup, she's often relieved. She's processing. She might even be enjoying the freedom. But somewhere between month 2 and month 4, if you've stayed completely silent, something shifts. The absence of you stops being a relief and starts becoming a presence of its own. You can't manufacture that shift by texting her. You can only wait for it or destroy it. Most men quit no contact at the worst possible moment. Day 60. She hasn't texted. His friends are telling him to move on. The silence feels like an answer. So he sends something casual. Hey, how have you been? And watches whatever emotional tension he built collapse instantly. Because here's the timeline nobody tells you. The first month, she's processing the breakup. The second month, she's rebuilding her routine without you. Month 3, she starts actually noticing your absence. Months 4 through 6, if you've grown, changed, stayed silent, that's when real contact happens. You spent 60 days building pressure in a container, and then you opened the valve yourself. Right after a breakup, your brain is chemically compromised. Elevated cortisol, dopamine dysregulation. You're essentially making long-term strategic decisions while emotionally drunk. Anything you send in the first 3 months is written by a version of you that doesn't exist when you're healthy. And she can feel that in every word. Let me give you the simplest framework for understanding your entire situation right now. After a breakup, one person always needs it to be over more than the other. And one person always needs it to not be over more than the other. Whoever is in the second position loses, not loses the argument, loses the dynamic, loses the frame, loses the thing that made them attractive in the first place. And here's what makes this so brutal: you can't fake your way out of it. Women don't read your words after a breakup. They read your timing, they read your frequency, they read whether you cracked on day 30 or day 90. They read whether your message sounds like a man who's been living his life, or a man who's been sitting in the dark waiting for permission to feel okay again. That's what she's measuring, not what you said. How long you lasted before you said anything. Here's the part nobody wants to accept. You don't need a better message. You need a better 6 months, a different body, a different focus, a life she doesn't recognize from the outside. That's not strategy. That's the only thing that actually works. And if you build that, you won't need to text her because she'll already be texting you. I want to tell you something that happened to me. 4 months after a rough breakup, no contact, completely silent, I got a message at 4 in the morning. So you're just going to keep ignoring me. Now let's read what's actually in that message. She's not saying she misses me. She's not reaching out with vulnerability. She's testing. She's checking whether, after all this time, I'll come running the moment she makes noise. The old version of me would have been awake in seconds, typing and deleting for 20 minutes. I saw the message in the morning. I didn't reply, not because I was playing games, because that message didn't deserve a response. And I knew that if I answered it, I'd be handing back every bit of ground I'd gained in 4 months. 4 months later, she called. A real conversation, a real shift. The 4 a.m. message was a test. The phone call was real. Those are two completely different moments, and they require two completely different responses. Everything I've said assumes one thing, that you want to keep your options open. But what if the hope itself is killing you? What if you're 6 months in and you can't sleep, can't date anyone new, can't think straight, because somewhere in the back of your mind, you're still waiting? Then there is a message worth sending. Not a cool, calculated text. Not something designed to re-attract her. The opposite. You write everything. The embarrassing parts, the moments you were weak, the things you miss that sound ridiculous out loud, the apologies that come too late. All of it raw, unfiltered, with nothing held back. And you send it, not for her, for you. Because what you're actually doing is destroying the fantasy. As long as you stay silent, there's a version of this story in your head where everything is still possible. This message ends that version. It forces a real response, or a real silence that finally means something. After you send it, you will feel like you've fallen, and then for the first time in months, you'll feel the ground underneath you. That's the only text worth sending. Most men watching this are going to wait for her to come back. And here's the thing, some of them will get exactly that. She'll text, she'll call, she'll show up at the worst possible moment when you finally started to feel normal again. And they'll be completely lost because they spent the silence counting days instead of building something. No contact isn't the strategy. No contact is just the minimum requirement. It just means you're not actively making things worse. The actual work is harder and less romantic. It's the question you need to ask yourself every single morning. If she saw you right now, not the version of you she left, but you today, would she be gaining something? Or would she just be returning to the same apartment, the same problems, the same man who couldn't keep her the first time? Because if the answer is the same, the silence doesn't matter. The timing doesn't matter. No message, perfect or otherwise, changes that equation. The only thing that changes it is you. So stop writing the message and go become the reason she regrets leaving.